What if the decision HYBE has been hiding for weeks is far more shocking than anything ARMY ever imagined? Before you dive into this breaking story, make sure to like, comment, and subscribe so you won't miss any updates as this mystery unfolds in real time. What exactly was HYBE trying to protect, and why did it take this long for the first cracks in the silence to appear? That is the question spreading like wildfire across fan communities tonight, especially after a sudden internal revelation, one that has left even the most seasoned ARMY speechless. For days, the entire K-pop world watched the company maintain an almost unnatural quiet, an eerie calm that made fans wonder whether something enormous was shifting behind the scenes. Now that silence has ruptured, and the resulting shock has sparked a frenzy that no one could have predicted. Was this decision planned all along, or was HYBE forced into revealing the truth because the weight of the secret became too heavy to conceal? Whispers began circulating earlier this morning, at first dismissed as typical rumor mill chatter, until a strange series of late-night movements were reported inside HYBE's headquarters. Witnesses claimed to have seen senior staff entering the building long after midnight, their steps hurried, their faces tense, as if responding to an unexpected emergency. Why would so many executives gather at such an unusual hour? And more importantly, why was Jungkook's name reportedly mentioned in those hushed, frantic conversations? The fact that every sighting, every whisper, every tiny detail pointed toward him set off an emotional earthquake across the fandom. Some asked whether Jungkook was facing a crisis. Others wondered whether his future was being rewritten entirely. When morning arrived, HYBE remained silent. No statements, no clarifications, no denials, just a growing pressure in the air, palpable enough that fans described feeling a storm coming. And they were right. By noon, the first leak broke through the invisible wall shielding the company's internal affairs. It wasn't a full statement, it wasn't even meant for the public's eyes, but it carried enough weight to send shockwaves through ARMY circles. A confidential decision, a change that would influence Jungkook's next chapter in ways no one had predicted. A move described by one insider as something that will alter his trajectory forever. But what does that mean? Was it a risk? A punishment? A promotion? Or something entirely different? As speculation exploded online, fans began piecing together fragments of information like detectives reconstructing a conspiracy. Some pointed to the unusual schedule reshuffling that happened last week. Others noticed Jungkook's noticeably tense expression in a recent appearance, an expression that now seems far less random and far more connected to something bigger, something hidden. Could he have known that HYBE was preparing a decision that would shape his future whether he was ready or not? The emotional weight of the situation only grew as more fragments surfaced. One anonymous staff member hinted that the decision involved a turning point, something HYBE had debated internally for months. If that is true, then why reveal it now? Why choose this moment, when fans are more sensitive than ever, still reeling from previous controversies and unexpected information drops? Was HYBE attempting to regain control of the narrative, or were they bracing themselves for backlash by softening the blow before the full truth comes out? What ARMY didn't expect, however, was the twist that emerged late in the afternoon, one that flipped the entire conversation on its head. A document, reportedly circulated among division leads, described Jungkook not as a liability or a problem, but as the centerpiece of an upcoming strategic overhaul. That wording alone sent emotions skyrocketing. Was this the decision HYBE had kept secret? Was Jungkook's role being elevated, expanded, or reconstructed? The ambiguity made the revelation even more explosive. Instead of soothing concerns, it intensified them. Why the secrecy if the decision was positive? Why the need for midnight meetings, controlled leaks, tightly managed silence? And then came the biggest shock of all. A second insider described the decision as the most sensitive recalibration HYBE has made regarding Jungkook since his debut. The statement wasn't a direct explanation, but it was enough to stir a whirlwind of confusion, dread, excitement, and fear all at once. A recalibration of what? His image, his career path, his creative direction, his partnerships, his public engagements, or something far more personal and vulnerable, the kind of matter artists rarely have any control over. The emotional reaction from ARMY was instant and overwhelming. Thousands of comments poured in across platforms, many pleading for clarity, others demanding transparency, and countless more expressing worry for Jungkook's well-being. But perhaps the most heartbreaking reactions were the ones filled with raw uncertainty. Why was everything happening so suddenly? Why now, when Jungkook had seemed more stable and creatively free than ever? Why hide something that involved him so deeply? As the day progressed, new clues surfaced, each adding tension to an already explosive mystery. HYBE staff reportedly canceled several internal briefings. A special conference room was blocked out for an uninterruptible session. Certain managers were seen leaving with documents pressed tightly against their chests, avoiding any attempts at conversation. Meanwhile, Jungkook himself became completely unreachable. No updates, no appearances, no statements. The silence surrounding him felt heavy, almost crafted, as though someone deliberately prevented any interference with the unfolding internal decision. Is the silence his choice, or the company's? That question alone fueled countless theories. Some speculated that Jungkook was aware of everything but emotionally needed space before facing the public. Others believed he was kept in the dark until the decision was finalized, a possibility that triggered both anger and heartbreak among fans. Could HYBE truly make a life-altering choice without Jungkook's full involvement? Or is the truth far more complex, connected to negotiations, timing, and unseen pressures that the public can only guess at? The closer anyone gets to the core of the mystery, the clearer one thing becomes. This isn't a simple internal adjustment. This isn't just marketing. This isn't just management. This decision, whatever it is, appears to carry consequences heavy enough to affect Jungkook's next era in ways fans will feel directly. Perhaps the most emotional moment of the day came from a single sentence dropped by someone who claimed to have witnessed the meeting firsthand. If the fans knew the whole story, they whispered, they would understand why everyone in that room looked shaken. Shaken. Not excited. Not proud. Shaken. The word alone shattered any illusion that this was a lightweight reveal or a routine administrative shift. Something inside that room weighed heavily enough to unsettle those accustomed to high-stakes decisions. So what exactly changed? What truth was powerful enough to alter the mood of an entire company? As night falls over Seoul and HYBE headquarters finally dim their lights, the world is left with more questions than answers. But one detail is now unmistakable. Jungkook's future has entered a new chapter, one shaped by a decision that until today, HYBE fought desperately to keep buried. Fans are bracing for the next wave of revelations, holding their breath as they wait for HYBE to finally break its silence officially. Because one thing is certain, whatever HYBE decides to reveal next will decide not only how ARMY reacts, but also how Jungkook steps into the next phase of his journey. And if this first leak is any indication, nothing will ever be the same again. The world is watching, the fans are waiting, and Jungkook's fate, once steady and predictable, now hangs on the edge of a decision that could change everything. The night deepens, but the tension refuses to fade. Instead, it grows heavier, settling over the fandom like a fog that refuses to lift. Every minute without an official statement feels like an hour. Every rumor feels louder than the last, and every unanswered question lingers like a shadow stretching across Jungkook's future. Why is HYBE taking so long to speak? Are they preparing something so massive, so delicate, that every word must be carved with precision? Or are they delaying because the truth is far more complicated than anyone dares to imagine? Some fans claim to have noticed unusual movements on HYBE's internal channels, subtle shifts that normally go unnoticed, except now every detail feels suspicious. A sudden freeze on content scheduling, a temporary lock on the artist management portal, a restricted access notification that appeared briefly before